Hello, my friends. How are you? I hope you're doing well today. I'm doing well myself, and today I have three exciting Kenyan breakfasts. These are dishes that we love to do. We have served them all throughout the years, and they are favorite among many. The first recipe is a request from a friend of mine. She loves how I do my mandazi. So we're going to do very simple enriched mandazis in vanilla flavor. These mandazis, you can grate some ginger into them and make it into ginger mandazis, or you can grate some lemon rind and also do the same. You don't have to just flavor in vanilla. You can also do like an original flavor and not add any flavor at all. They'll still be very tasty. And you can also substitute the butter for margarine. That's quite okay. And just follow the steps. It's very easy. For this particular recipe, we will be aiming for about a dozen mandazis. Watch how we do it, and karibu. Hey besties, so we start with our mandazi. I'm going to use 2 cups of self-raising flour. From this, we are going to get about a dozen mandazis with the size that we're going to cut. You can always go a size smaller or bigger. I'm going to grate my 1 tablespoon of butter right into the flour, and I'm going to use the rubbing method. This is where you rub the fat into the flour to make some sort of like a breadcrumb texture. So you do that to just incorporate the fat into the flour, and then we'll add our other ingredients, which are salt, just a little bit, about a 1/4 teaspoon. We'll add a 1/4 cup of sugar. We'll add the milk, the egg, and the vanilla flavor, which is what we're using. You can use lemon or ginger, whatever you like. It's always been my habit to make my dough on the counter surface. So this is how I do it. And we are going to add the milk a little by little until we get the consistency that we want. Because sometimes, depending on the weather, you might find that you want to use more liquid than usual. But we want a soft consistency. The mandazi dough should be a bit softer than chapati dough, and the chapati dough should be a bit softer than a samosa dough. We are going to do all this with time, but for today, let's do this very soft, very yummy, very rich mandazi. And once we bring it together like this, we are going to knead, and I like to just stretch out the gluten. That way you will work your dough until it is softer. You can tell when you're using a rich dough, you can tell that it's getting softer because the lumps get less and your dough looks a bit softer. And we're done kneading now. Our dough is so much softer, and we want to put it aside for about 10 to 15 minutes to rest before we start out this rolling out process. At this point, we don't need to knead the dough again. We just spread it out with our fingers and then use a rolling pin, shape it how you desire. You can use a round cutter to cut round shapes, but I'm going to just cut it into square shapes just so that nothing remains. This is a very fast way of making mandazi, especially in the morning. You can make this right before everybody comes to the table for breakfast. Our oil is hot enough now for frying our mandazi, and we're just going to slide each piece of dough, sort of like we're putting it under the oil, and it will come up very fast because the temperature is just right. And we want to just sprinkle some hot oil onto the top of the mandazi. That way it swells up evenly. And once the underside is golden brown, we want to turn it to the other side, or to flip it so that it cooks on the underside, and we remove it. You don't want to keep it too long, so the oil has to be just right, not too hot and also not too cool, because you want to cook this very fast. As soon as it swells, it gets so well aerated, and once you achieve the color that you want, you can then remove it from the hot oil and set it aside. Get ready to serve. You can serve with samosa, and we will do our samosas soon. You can serve with scrambled eggs. You can serve with sausages. On this day, we served with samosas, and it was really, really yummy breakfast that we all enjoyed. Hey now, so the second breakfast that we're doing today is fried arrowroot and some boiled sweet potatoes. This is such a good Kenyan breakfast. We do this often, and I know that other nationalities do it too. So I'm going to use my instant cooker to boil or steam my arrowroot together with the sweet potato. I'm going to set it at 50 for 50 minutes, and I raised it up a bit so it doesn't sit in the water, or so they don't both sit in the water. So 50 minutes will do the trick, because this is quite a huge size of the arrowroot. So I'm going to start that, and at the 50-minute point, I will release the steam and take out my nduma. As you can tell, our potato and arrowroot are very well cooked. We serve the sweet potato first, and then this is the next morning actually. It's best to serve this or do this when it's cold. So I'm going to slice my nduma. This is a very good quality one. It's a rare find. So I'm going to slice this after cutting through, so I get semicircles, and I'm going to just slice it to the desired size. On the side, I have my oil shallow frying in a pan, and we'll just dip them inside. And because this was a steamed arrowroot, we didn't get to salt it. I'm going to salt it while it cooks on one side. I'll salt it, and then once it gets nice and crispy and slightly browned, I will salt on the other side, wait for it to get fried, crispy and warm through, and then flip to the other side. And these are really delicious, salted like this, nice and savory, tasty arrowroot for serving with your tea or coffee. This is a really good Kenyan breakfast that a lot of us enjoy, and you don't have to do this with the sweet potatoes. You can serve them soft, just warmed in the microwave. If you do want to do this, you can make a light butter and just dip in before you fry. Perfect. And these are our Kenyan crepes, and I'm serving them with Kenyan tea. So I'm starting with 1 cup of water. It doesn't even have to be warm, and adding 3 eggs. And I'm going to whisk this, add half a cup of sugar, and then you have to check the flour. So add it slowly. I ended up adding 2 cups of flour. This is just all-purpose flour. You want to beat the mixture until it's light and not lumpy. You want to get out all the lumps. And the way to do this is you have to use a dry pan, completely dry. Don't add oil, because once you add the pancake mix or the crepe mix into the pan, you want it to stick so that you can swirl it around like this. You want it to stick onto the pan, and then it releases as it cooks. Yeah, so this is quite an experience. These are fun to do, and they are very also affordable, because you just use eggs, water, sugar, and flour. And this is where you oil. Once you flip it, you want to oil the underside, and then flip to the next side. Do the same thing. Don't add oil on the second side because you want the next mixture to also stick on the pan. I hope I'm making sense with this, but just like the way I'm doing it on the video, you want to do that, yeah? And you can serve this with milk tea, but I wanted something light and nice, and I wanted to taste that Kenyan tea. I had ketepa. So just keep repeating this process, and you can use this for a dessert too, by filling it with cream, wrapping, and serving it, or even just adding fruit like strawberries or raspberry and serving it as a dessert. We might do that later, but as a breakfast item, this is how you do it. And by the way, you can do this as a savory dish and serve with some ground beef as a light lunch, or just with sugar, just like we did, depending on your taste. So thank you so much for watching. This has been fun doing these Kenyan breakfast items, and thank you so much. See you on the next one. Bye bye.